Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. How y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. It occurred to me about a minute before, no, I take that back, about 30 seconds before we started, that the title might be a little misleading. Because this isn't a test. I'm actually referring to what is going on with the Oversight Committee and Department of Justice, that kind of stuff, which we will get into later on in the show. But we've got some stuff to talk about. We really do. You know, the last couple episodes, holy crap, almost 4 hours just on the Ho-Ho Show with 2 different episodes. And I wasn't able to do an episode last week because, well, I know, Machine. He puts in here, he goes, this is not a test. This is a show. I know. Like I said, it's a little misleading. I apologize for that. I didn't, it didn't occur to me until 30 seconds before go time. That's not exactly the best title to put on there. It's just not. It's really not. So y'all know how I like to start the show. Y'all know that I like to put a little bit of satire, a little bit of funniness, a little bit of and this is just the right story for that. Oh, wow. I did not see that picture before. All right. So I should let you talk about Ukraine, sir. We can actually do that before the, after this article. And then I'll say, did you call? But not now. Let me get this article, because this article is hilarious. This article cracked me up when I seen this, and I was like, there ain't no way this is actually true. Come to find out, yep, this is absolutely true. This is very true. So let me go ahead and show you this. This is from Lad Bible. I don't know. I've used them before in the past. I kind of like them. I dig them. Headline, raccoon found frozen to railway track by testicles. Oh, that's good stuff. Oh, yeah, I seen that article and I laughed so hard. I was like, oh, that poor raccoon. I'm like, hasn't he seen, what's that the Christmas movie? What's the name of that thing? Where they stick their tongue onto the, onto the flagpole and it's bad. He gets stuck on there and then he's got his. I'm like, how did they get him off? Did somebody we won't get into that. It cracked me up. I thought that was hilarious. And that picture right there. I mean, man, look at that. Get on that. that picture on the right, that just looks, whew, man, that looks painful. I can't even, oh wow, I can't even imagine. That looks painful. That looks extremely painful. All right, machine. If you would, Joe Dirt. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, sir. If you would like to go ahead and call in and talk about Ukraine, we can go ahead and do that. And I'll also tell you about a compliment that we got on the last show, talking about the Illinois gun ban stuff, because, got a compliment on that. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and call in. Until then, until I get that phone call and, oh man, there's a video attached to that with the raccoon, is frozen on the railway. All kinds of pictures on this, man. That's painful stuff, man. That is painful stuff. All right, let me get off of that, because that's just going to give me nightmares tonight. I'm just telling you. All right, so there's a story that I'm wanting to get into. All right, and this is hey, here we go. All right. Good morning, sir. You are on the air.
Ooh, yay, I am.
How goes it, sir? How you doing?
Oh, first-time listener, multi-time caller. I'm good.
Oh, you're even doing that right. Good job. Wow.
Of course.
Normally here, first time, long time, whatever. That's good. That's good stuff, man. All right, so what you got for us today?
Well, I've been talking about this quite a bit, and especially with what's going on in Ukraine. You know how I do with history.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you know that I know history pretty well.
Yeah, you're a little bit of a history nut, historian of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Literally, war historian, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I want to bring up, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
And indeed, the thoughts of your listeners as well. Why is it, and I do mean this is, there's been a tectonic shift in intelligence in this country, and what I'm getting at is patriots, applauding Russia and siding with Vladimir Putin. This has become an anomaly that is absolutely true. They are so ingrained with, I guess, being against our government, which I have to explain to everybody that every government is corrupt. There is no perfect government because absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
But that's what they're going with. And they're going with these strange, odd narratives that have no basis on what's going on at all. My favorite one that I heard was Russia's fighting the Nazis over again, or Putin's saving children from child trafficking in Ukraine. I'm like, neither one of those are true. Neither one of those even have a single shred of evidence to prove them. And we have more child trafficking here than Ukraine does.
Yeah, we have a lot of child trafficking here. It's one of them things that they don't like to talk about, considering it makes everything look bad with having open borders, But I could,
right.
I definitely understand what you're talking about as far as people, supporting Russia and whatnot. I'm going to be honest. I don't, it's like, okay, the people of Ukraine and the people, of Russia, I support, they don't want it. I support the people of Russia. I support the people of Ukraine. But as far as the governments of both countries are corrupt as hell. Both of them are absolutely corrupt. The government of Ukraine, corrupt. Government of Russia, obviously corrupt. And I don't support either one of them.
Well, according to them, Putin has turned a page. He's fighting the New World Order. He's doing this. He's doing that. And then I have to remind them that actually Putin is the New World Order, that the communist regimes like China, Russia, and stuff like that have always been a New World Order. Their job is to literally take over the world. And in World War II, they damn near did it perfectly.
Right. And I mean, you got a point on that, because it's, the New World Order isn't, a capitalist, constitutional republic form of government that they are wanting to install. It is more of a communist, far left type of government that they want to install worldwide. And one of the
Correct.
biggest things that is between them and their goal is the American people, the American form of government. Biggest obstacle they have right there is us.
Well, and and this is what I'm getting at. I mean, it really does pain me to see that American patriots are like, well, we hate our government so much that we're going, and since they're sending stuff to Ukraine, we're going to side with the Russians, with the Russian government. I'm like, that's what the fuck. Excuse me. What is wrong with you people? Do you know
Right.
anything about Russia? Do you know anything about Putin? Do you know anything about what's going on right now?
Right.
And they don't understand what I'm trying to tell them. I was like, okay, listen, you're saying go Russia. You're talking about how you hate the commies, but you are supporting a communist nation taking over a sovereign one.
Exactly.
You're going against, and I'm going to use the word because it's not a constitutional republic over there. It is a democracy, but Ukraine is a democracy. They are a freedom-loving people just like us. They're one of the only democracies over there. They adapted our system, and they have still been adapting our system. Remember, they're a very young country on a grand scheme of things.
Yes, they are.
And they are trying as best as they can to almost mimic what we have because they want that freedom. They don't want Russia in their fucking back pocket. That's the reason why they left the Russian Federation to begin with.
Precisely.
And they've done this throughout history. I'm going to give people a history lesson, but I'm going to start with modern times. Actually, nobody seems to know what Novorossiya is. Novorossiya is New Russia. Novorossiya, whatever, people say it wrong, was Novorossiya.
Right, okay.
That is New Russia. By the way, the New Russia is the old Russia.
Right.
What I mean by that is this is what Putin said when he became president. When he got into office in Russia, he said, I am going to get back our former territories. That includes Ukraine. That includes Latvia and Belarus and stuff like that. He wants all these territories back. But
yeah,
what he really
he's definitely wanting to, go back to the power of how Russia was before they were forced to basically split everything up. And Brian put in here, he goes, they even got the corruption right too. Absolutely.
Right. But they want, that's what they want. They want the Crimean Peninsula. They want all that because they want to have control of the sea.
Yes.
That is Russia's thing. They want, it's nothing more than a land grab.
Yeah. That was the entire purpose of why they went after Crimea.
Right. So when people start saying, oh, well, he's going after child trafficking, he's stopping the New World Order, he's doing it, it's like, do you guys ever pay attention to what Russia has done to the Ukrainians for the last 130 plus years?
Oh yeah. If they actually knew what Russia put them through, then they wouldn't be, you would hope that they wouldn't be pro-Russia.
Well, I could literally go back all the way to the 1700s actually with this. But here's how I'm going to start. Like I said, I talked about, I mentioned Novorossiya, but I'm going to go all the way back.
Okay.
Way back in the day, like was it 19th century? I believe it's 19th century.
You're going way far back.
Yeah. Even then, the Russians said, you can't speak your own language because the Ukrainians do have their own dialect. They do have their own language. Yes, they do. Well, the Russians said, you can't teach that. You can't speak that. Anybody that does is put to death.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. So that's a start. So let me see in the 1920s. Let's move to 20th century. 20th century, before World War I, Ukraine declared independence. They were struck down and brought back into the fold. After World War I, actually in the 1920s, they declared independence, and they were independent for a time, but they knew that they couldn't keep away the Russians. So they ended up getting pulled back into the fold, and what did Stalin, and I'm going to go right into the beginning of World War II. What did Stalin do? He created a man-made famine, killing 7.5 million Ukrainians.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that one either. That was a man-made famine. He did that purposefully to Ukraine.
Yes, he did that purposely to Ukraine. He killed them people intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go into World War II, because one of the things I heard was, well, the Russians or the Ukrainians sided with the Nazis, and that's why there's Nazis still to this day. It's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And like when Operation Barbarossa started, and they went into the Ukraine, yes, the Ukrainians at first said, oh, good, somebody's here to help us, because that's exactly what the Germans said as they were coming in. They said, we're here to help you. You know, we're here to make you a free people away from the Russians.
Right.
So like, oh, good. Well, they found out within a very short period of time that this wasn't true at all, because they were conscripted to fight as Germans against the Russians. They were forced against their will to fight. So then you start having partisan wars and stuff like that, and people, you know, Ukrainians fighting against the Nazis as they were there. Well, what happened to the Ukrainians when the Russians began to win? They were conscripted into the Russian army and sent to Berlin.
Ukrainians just couldn't get out of that, could they?
No.
They had to fight a war for somebody.
Yeah, they're a tortured people. And by the way, this entire time, and I'm not just talking the famine, the entire time for the last 130 plus years, they were treated as serfs to the regime. They were the slaves of the Russians. That make no mistake about it. Same with the Czech Republic. You know, this is why, you know, I'm having such a hard time trying to understand how American patriots, the people that they call themselves these new style patriots, you know, screw the government, whatever, yada, 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 are siding with the communists, think that they're actually doing a good thing. They seem to forget that it's not the country that's fighting. You know, the government is fighting. It's the country.
Right. It's the people.
Those are people. People are losing their homes. People are dying. People are displaced. There's no power. There's no water. There's no friggin' food. And there's people that shouldn't even be on the battlefield that are on the battlefield because they want to remain free.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't heard a whole heck of a lot about what's going on over there, like any specifics other than it's bad, you know, and it's, you know, with the lack of power, with the, you know, how they're, you know, how harsh they're looking the winter's going to be, that it's, you know, that it's just going to be, it's going to be bad. You know, the people.
Yeah, they're expecting thousands to die from freezing to death.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're
famine.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely bad over there.
But I challenge anybody that says that, you know, that Russia's doing the right thing or Russia's doing a good job or yada yada yada, or whatever else they want to say. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your safe search off. I want you to go into Google and I want you to type in, you know, about the what's happening in Ukraine and see exactly what's actually going on.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of, you know, questions on this that people have asked, but you know, besides a land grab, you know, that Putin wants to bring, you know, the land that Russia used to have back under, you know, Russian control. Do you think there's another ulterior motive that he has in going after Ukraine and going after, you know, just going after Ukraine in general? Or do you think it's simply a land grab to bring back the mother Russia, as they say?
No, this is nothing more than land grab. There is nothing more to it than that. Like I said, you know, going backwards again. Putin said himself, "I will get back the former territories. We will have Nova Russia.
Right.
We will have this." And the Ukrainians only barely knew that this was coming. And people see, the one thing that's bugging the hell out of me, because I do agree to a certain extent we shouldn't be funding their war. I think other countries need to be involved in it. We don't need to be funding the whole damn thing. That's not right.
Right. I mean, you know, Europe needs to do their part, you know, but you know, the sad thing is though, I mean, because of them linking with, well, all right, this is kind of, you know, I don't, maybe not twofold, but you know, as far as energy is concerned, you know, a lot of European nations, and Trump warned about this, is don't link your energy to Russia. You know, allow us to be an alternative, and then of which case Biden completely shut that down. But, they don't have a whole heck of a lot of choice in, at least, maybe they can't support, they can't support Ukraine, but they have to do it in a different way because Russia has the entire Europe under their thumb because of energy, oil.
Right. OPEC plus.
Yes. And that, that puts all of Europe in a pretty bad pickle,
Well, you got to again, you got to think about it this way too. Ukraine is a young country. They're only 30-something years old. Okay, so for people to think that, okay, well, they have a military, so they should be able to supply themselves.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to, let's say, produce the amount of arms that some countries have, like us. And I mean, I get it. People are bitching about the taxes and about us spending money over in the Ukraine and stuff like that. Absolutely, I agree with you. I don't think we should be fitting full bill, but at the same time, there's something that they're missing. We have out of 100% of our budget, okay, 100% of our military budget per year. We have given 5% of our budget to the Ukraine.
Yeah, I mean, all said and done, it's a very minute number that we've given.
Yeah, we're not even making a dent. And the people say, "Well, we need that equipment. We need the equipment." Okay, first thing,
and that's the thing, though. Back on that with we need that too. And see, that's one of the things that I am seeing as a problem with not just us giving them money, but with us giving them things. Us giving them our armaments, us giving them weapons and everything else, but because we are not replenishing what we're giving, and
I was getting to that.
Okay, all right, go for it. My apologies.
I was getting to that. Well, one of the dumbest things that the government has ever decided to do is get rid of the tank corps for the U.S. Marine Corps. So they have all these Abrams tanks. All these Abrams tanks went into the fold. What these Abrams tanks have been doing since then has been sitting in a backlot, basically rusting. Those are the ones that we're sending to the Ukraine.
So we're not sending them, technically speaking, our current. Yeah. No,
we're not. We're sending them used. Everything that we have sent them has been used equipment. Everything that we have sent them has been surplus equipment. What I mean by surplus is not, what people think. People think, well, we got one or two left. No, we've got a shit ton sitting out in the middle of nowhere that isn't being touched, including howitzers, including everything else like that. We're not sending them our stuff that we would use if we got in the event we got into a fight.
Right.
We're sending them the stuff, and people are like, well, what if we get into a heavy fight and we need it? Trust me when I tell you, we have plenty. You have no idea how much equipment the United States actually owns and is spread across the country. There's places where even the military doesn't even know that stuff's hidden at.
That's one of them things, me being a truck driver, I spend a lot of time around railroads, and that's one of the things that is quite common to see is, transporting tanks on the railroad. You see that all the time. You see that all over the place. I mean, it's not a major thing. They're just moving, they are moving tanks from place to place. I mean, we do have them, and I can attest because I've seen them moving them. So I see your point on that.
Well, and and some people saying, here we go with the, how I feel about certain conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They are more conspiracy than they are theory. Like when people freak out saying, well, there's UN vehicles on our soil. Well, no shit, we're part of the UN.
Yeah, there's a ton of them on U.S. soil.
Yeah, they're being transferred here and they're being transferred there. Did you guys see this train? This train is carrying all the equipment. I'm like, okay. If you see it on Norfolk Southern, it's going to Norfolk.
Right.
See it on, I was like, they do have to be transferred back and forth. I mean, you do have places that repair these things. Some of the ones that you're seeing could be brand new. That they can be going to their new homes. Some of the ones that you see that are older, they could be going to the repair shops or going in actually even to salvage.
Right, and being decommissioned and being sold. Useful. Yeah, being decommissioned and sold. Yeah, because they do that a lot too. They cycle through their stuff and sell it surplus. There you go.
Right.
Well, heck, we see that a lot where where we're at with, with National Guard bases and whatnot in our area, that we see that stuff getting surplus sold out.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, going to like the M1s and stuff like that they're sending over there. The tanks and the self-propelled guns, whatever else like that. Mm-hmm. Again, these are all older equipment. These are all used equipment. The chance of them getting a brand new, right off the showroom floor, never been fired machine is not going to happen. We're sending them the stuff that can be capable of, that it's just capable equipment, but it is in fact used. We're not manufacturing the stuff to send over. This isn't World War II. We're not supplying half the world with tanks and munitions at this point.
And the sad thing is, that's what they make it sound like we're doing. That they make it sound like we're sending them our newest stuff, depleting what we have. I'll be perfectly honest with you, considering this is something that I've really not, kept up with and looked into a whole heck of a lot. I didn't know any better. And because that's how, that's where the narrative goes. That's how they, that's how they talk about it. But don't get me wrong, I'm not surprised, that we're giving surplus stuff, not new right off the assembly line stuff. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all, because we know how misleading, the media is, mainstream media. Pretty stinking misleading.
Yeah, we absolutely know what it is. But that's the thing. That's going back to me talking about these people that call themselves patriots that are following for this narrative that Russia is putting out. I was like, you do realize the Pravda is still a normal thing, and Putin still uses it. It's never stopped. I was like, for crying out loud, do you not know that one of the news publications in Russia just said not too long ago that the first Abrams on the battlefield was melted down by the Russians, and they took a photo of it and sent it around. And funny thing is the Abrams tank is not there yet. There isn't any there, so that's not possible. And the photo, I was like, guys, you know how to do Google reverse Google, basically. Right click on the photo, click on find source. You click on find source, and it's a picture of an M1A1 Abrams, not an M1A2, an M1A1 Abrams in desert tan coating in the middle of a desert that burnt down.
Right.
The Ukraine's not a desert. That was Baghdad. That photo was taken from Baghdad, and the Russians are using this for their propaganda purposes and saying, we've already done this. Glory to the Russian people. And, glory to the Russian army. I'm like, guys, you haven't shot shit, because we haven't sent any yet.
So when are those looking to go out?
I think they're supposed to be heading out this pretty quick.
Yeah, that I wasn't sure on.
Josh, I'm going to respond to one.
Okay, yeah, go
ahead. Let's see. Josh says our government shouldn't be sending money to any country until our own economy and country is up running 100% again. Sending money to other countries is keeping our country running up 100%. And by the way, our country is never going to run 100%. It's never going to happen. It's not possible. But to answer that, Josh, we have assets throughout the world. We have to protect our assets, and that includes sending money to certain countries to protect our assets. The isolationist one world thing will never work for the United States. It cannot possibly happen for the United States because we are too reliant on other countries for stuff. And I get what you're trying to say,
well, that's one of
it's not possible to revert back from what we are now to an isolationist nation. It's not going to work.
That's actually was, one of the whole points on why they did what they did after World War II was they linked, this was just kind of an agreed upon thing, was that they linked all nations' economy so that, an attack on one is going to be an attack on everybody and is going to hurt you in the process, and
exactly.
That was one of the, that was one of the reasons why they did that, in hopes to prevent a World War III.
Right, and that is one of the reasons that I'm going to say this part to give it some context. I do understand that particular part of it with Russia, but that is just a bullshit line that he's using to, basically say, well, this fight's okay. It's not a big deal. Is he's saying he doesn't want Ukraine to be a NATO country because then we can put missiles in Ukraine facing Russia. I'm like, well, you have missiles facing every country around Europe. You have Poland and and Latvia and all them. You have missiles pointing at them, so I don't think it's really going to make that big of a difference because they have missiles pointing at you too. One more country is really not going to make that much of a difference. What he's worried about is they're actually going to launch them at him. And do you fucking blame him at this point?
No. And that's the thing, though. I mean, they don't, I think a lot of it has to do with why Putin doesn't want, Ukraine to join NATO, is because then that would make it to where all of the NATO nations, not like they would, because we know how slow they like to act or react in this case. But then we would have to support Ukraine instead of basically staying neutral and staying out of it, which is more or less what he's told us he demands out of every country.
Right. And what's their only mad plan, the barking idea he's got. What is his only plan? Well, we'll use a nuke.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you won't. He's a paper tiger. There's a reason why he won't use a nuke. There's a reason why they never used a nuke.
Because they knew that MAD.
Yep, because they knew that MAD was going to happen. Yep. Mutually assured destruction. Let's put it this way: if he was to even fire a single nuclear weapon, even in Ukraine or anywhere else, I don't think people understand what's going to happen. The countries around him are going to launch as well.
Yep.
This is going to get ugly really fast. In fact, if they think it's cold in Russia during the winter, wait till they find out what nuclear winter feels like.
Yeah, right.
Russia will be nothing but a pond if he launches one of those, and he knows better. But he still thinks to this day, because remember, he's a former KGB agent under the USSR. He still has that USSR mentality, the Cold War mentality, saying, well, if we threaten them enough, they'll back down. He hasn't realized that hasn't worked in, I don't know, since before the dissolution of the USSR. It never worked. We were not afraid. We always had a bigger upper hand on him.
Right. Well, of course, the issue on that, and now don't get me wrong, I agree with you. But the issue we have on that is, right now with the current administration, we have somebody in there that isn't going to push back. That is going to, he may talk a good talk, but as far as playing the game goes and actually doing something about it, not so much. I mean, there's a reason why under the Trump administration that everybody respected the crazy that Trump represented. They were like, we don't know if he's going to do that, but you know what? I really don't want to push his buttons and find out. He was just enough of a wild card that they gave him a lot more respect than what they've given any other leader we've had in modern history. And with Joe Biden, we have zero respect as far as, not necessarily the people, but the people that are making the decisions, they have zero respect on the world stage. So what's your final thoughts on that, sir? I'd say that people definitely need to educate themselves on what's going on and don't just automatically accept, mainstream media and just, what the narrative is. Definitely don't trust the narrative.
Right. Don't believe, because one of the biggest things, like I said, is them saying, well, he's stopping child trafficking. Thank you, Mr. Putin, for stopping child trafficking. He's got more child trafficking in his country than any other country combined, and that includes China, which is really bizarre. But the claim is that he saved 35,000 kids. That is not true at all.
Not true?
No, there is zero information on that. That was, in fact, the only source that can be traced back to is Russia itself. Not any, nothing else has covered that, and they found out that was completely baseless, because what they found out was quite the opposite.
Whoa. You mean to tell me that they just made up something like that to make themselves look good, so that this way people would, kind of defend what they were doing? You mean to tell me that was propaganda? No way.
Yep.
Huh. So,
yeah.
on the last show we did, we got a compliment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did. Miss Linda Irwin over there on Spreaker was like, "You guys do well together." It's like, well, yeah. We've been playing this game a few,
Yeah.
We like doing this kind of stuff. It's fun. But yeah, I thought I'd share that with you, because I didn't let you know yet. I hadn't told you that we got a compliment. All right.
That's nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Thank you. All right. So that is, I think we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and take my first break and then get back and cover some other stuff. So, all right.
I got a couple more phone calls I got to make. So.
All right. Well, you have a good one, sir. I appreciate the call in.
Yep. See you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Brandon Gatton, co-owner of Weaponized Sloth Productions and host of the Machine Radio Show. Holy crap. Dude, have you guys ever had that happen? If y'all just, had a thought in your head, and the next thing you know, it goes bye-bye. Well, those kind of things happen to me on a regular basis. Brian goes, "You guys do well, like Dumb and Dumber." I can't argue that. I cannot argue that, sir. It's, it happens. Oh, there's my notification telling me I got a call. Isn't that awesome? Let me go ahead and mute my phone, because I'm an idiot. All right, there we go. Awesome. Let me find some music. Let's do this one. All right, guys, just a couple minutes and I will be right back. Nope, that ain't it. There it is. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. That's right, Tussin. Good stuff, guaranteed to fix anything that ails you. Pick that up today. So we are starting off this segment talking about ChatGPT. I'm sure that y'all have heard about this, because there are, a lot of things out there that this sucker is what it does is it scours the interwebs. You ask it a question, something like that. It scours the interwebs looking for answers, but it basically doesn't just recite things, like directly as it is. It will actually formulate, gather the information and formulate a response. Very unique. Very unique. It can write papers. It can do all kinds of crap. It can write code. It can make you a better coder. There's a lot of things that this puppy has a capability of doing. Absolutely amazing. It really is. But there is something that has been noted with ChatGPT. And that is, it's very blatant and very obvious political leanings. Let me explain. One of the things that this puppy does is because it looks through social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the whole 9 yards, and it, kind of does its thing, trying to be more intuitive, less computer speak, more person-like, that's the whole point of a ChatGPT is to be, a fill-in for an individual. That's kind of what the point is. But considering it's getting a lot of its information and a lot of its, how do I do certain things from social media, from YouTube, Facebook, social media. And because all these social media platforms have very obvious political leanings, so does GPT. You ask things that are, asking a very, this is an obvious, we're looking for a left-leaning answer, and it is very quick to give you that answer and does a very good job on it. And, spouts out the left side of things. But when you're wanting truth, when you're wanting, a constitutional type of an answer, when you are wanting something that is scientifically accurate, like gender being male and female, and that's the only two options you got, a womb versus a non-womb, well, it has issues. It has a hard time answering those questions if it gives you any type of an answer at all. Which amazes me because it's like, dude, I mean, you would think that the baseline of government would be the Constitution. But it's not. At least not for ChatGPT. You would think that the baseline of some of this stuff would be, a little bit, truth, science, the science behind gender. I mean, it's like, what the heck, So, I mean, it's very obvious that ChatGPT has these, these leanings, liberal leanings. Now, for a lot of other things, it really isn't going to matter. I'll be honest, a lot of the applications on stuff like this isn't going to matter. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, if you're somebody that's in college, if you're somebody that's, going through the education system and considering how leaning, left leaning a lot of these places are, hey, getting ChatGPT to help you out a little bit, that might not be overall a bad thing. I mean, I'd have a hard time writing a far left leaning article, writing a paper like that, far left leaning. I'd have my conservatism coming through. It would be horrible. I'd get in trouble. I'd be like, y'all suck. It's just, I'd have issues with that. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. ChatGPT, that may help. And I'm actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm doing some stuff that I'm I want to try it out. I've not used it yet. I've not, really messed with it at all. But I am curious. I'll be honest with you. I'm curious. I want to find out just how good it does. I want to find out just how it compiles different things, how it gets some of its responses. And, one of these days I'll play with it, but I have issues playing with it right now. I have issues playing with it. Have you alls, heard of ChatGPT? Have you explored anything about it? Have you used it? Have you, had any type of conversations with it? I'm kind of curious. If you have, let me know. All right, moving on from that one, I got this article from Newsbreak. Not surprised on this, going to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, I got to make sure. Okay, we're good. All right. Illinois gun ban. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. State seeks federal case consolidation as new county also sues. Now, this is something that obviously we knew was going to happen. We knew that, right from the get-go that there was going to be pushback. There was going to be some, there was going to be some, people fighting this on constitutional level. This is not constitutional, all these other kind of good things. And, well, yes, that has absolutely happened. Now, here's the thing now. I mean, none of this is really is going to be implemented until January of 2024, I believe, as far as when registering of these weapons goes. If you already have, any type of the guns that are on the, the ban list, or guns that have, the accessories that they don't like, you don't have to re-register your gun until January 1st of 2024. So they're giving us almost a year to comply. Man, I hate that word. Giving us almost a year to comply. But one of the things that Illinois is wanting to do, obviously, because it'll be a lot cheaper for Illinois if they do that, they want to consolidate all of these lawsuits into one, so that this way they've only got one case that they have to argue in court. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm against this. I very much am against this, because what I suspect may end up happening is that Illinois is going to seek, at least on a state level, are going to seek, they're going to do their judge hunting, and they're going to get a very liberal, with his own political view on the Second Amendment, Brian puts in here, he says, I'm going to do it. They can go to hell. I'm assuming they did that. You didn't. That's funny. That's funny. My chat evidently over there in YouTube land, tries to keep things. Yeah. I don't know why it does that. That's a setting that I haven't really played with all that much. Well, I have to shut that off, because I know what you're saying. And I've had people tell me that, it's like it doesn't even go through on the chat. It'll just flag it, and it might let me see it, but it won't go any farther than that. He goes, I'm against it too. Yeah. But I'm definitely, he's against the whole consolidation. But yes, I mean, I think that Illinois is, that's why they're wanting to do this, because they're wanting to do, they're wanting to shop around for a lawyer that is going to be, more likely to rule on the side of Illinois, because they're going to bring their own political agenda into this, instead of looking at the Constitution like they should be and going, nope, you can't do that. Now, an argument that I hear all the time, and I tell you what, it annoys it annoys me to no end whenever I hear people talk about it like this. Because it's what they like to say, and this has to do with, I think it's like the corporate whatever, okay, that the Second Amendment only applies to the federal government, that it doesn't apply to the state government. And of which case I'm like, no, I don't believe that at all. You know, that because of the 10th Amendment, that gives the state a right to at least restrict, limit in some way the Second Amendment. I'm like, no. I don't believe that as well. Because, all right, first, I'm going to read you what the Second Amendment actually says. Yes, we cover this all the time. I don't care. We're going to cover it again. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, one, that's not very hard to understand at all. Again, the Second Amendment, one sentence, it was written in plain, simple, basic English so everybody can understand it. But what I'm going to do is modify it slightly. Bring it into context. Bring it a little up to date. I'm going to add a couple words. I'm going to change a couple words. And let's see if this doesn't hit home a little bit better. Let's see if this doesn't resonate truth to what the Second Amendment is actually saying. Because a well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state, then the right of the people to keep and bear arms cannot be restricted. So with that right there, okay, now one, let me back the train up a little bit. Here's a problem with the corporatist type of an idea. I mean, I think that's close to the name that they use on this, you know, allowing the state to do a little bit of restrictions on here. Here's the thing. If a state has the right to restrict one right, or let me rephrase that. If the state has the ability to restrict a right, then, you know, one right, then that gives them the ability to restrict all rights. And of which case we're kind of under agreement that everybody is under agreement that that's not true when it comes to the First Amendment. So therefore it's like, okay, so if it's true for the Second Amendment, why isn't it true for the First Amendment? That never made any sense to me. And these people didn't understand what actually took place during the signing of this and whenever states came into the Union, what they had to agree to, because that's the thing. Whenever a state entered the Union, like when the state of Illinois entered the Union in 1818, there's some trivia information for you. I mean, you always remember that one, 1818, the year that Illinois was founded as a state. They had to agree to all of this. Illinois had to agree that they would make no law respecting the establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. They had to agree to the freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom to peaceably assemble. They had no right, because this is not a right given by man, a right given by nature's God. They don't have the right to restrict any of these. That was part of it when they joined the Union. So no state has the right to restrict, limit any of it. Now, they're not just having multiple lawsuits on a state level. They also have some lawsuits going on a federal level too. Now, I don't know if any of these lawsuits have, reached the Supreme Court yet. I have no idea. I don't know if that's a step type of a thing, as if, we take it to here and then we go to the next level and then we go to the next level. I'm not really sure on that one, which is kind of how I think it works, but I haven't heard anything on a national Supreme Court level as of yet. Hopefully, it doesn't go that far. That's what my hope is. But there's a lot of people in the state that are completely ticked about this, basically most everybody. And I don't want to say it surprises me, because it really doesn't, but at the same time, it kind of does. Just how many sheriffs, various county sheriffs have basically taken a stand. We will not go door to door and, implement this. We're not going to enforce this. This is something that, we understand the constitutionality of this, and we are not going to do this. And in which case I applaud these people. That's what they're supposed to do in the first place, isn't it? They are supposed to support and defend the Constitution. That's what they're supposed to uphold. And whenever you have a law, and this is the thing, when you have a law that obviously goes against the Constitution, do you really need a court to say that's unconstitutional? I don't understand that. A cop is supposed to enforce an unconstitutional order until the court says, oh, no, you don't have to enforce that. No, that's part of it. If it is a blatant violation of the Constitution, then no, they have the right to disobey that order. Duh. What's so hard about that one to understand? I don't get it. But yeah, so there it is. All kinds of lawsuits taking place. Well, I guess we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully, it doesn't escalate to the point to where it needs to go to the Supreme Court. That's what my hope is on this. We're going to move on. Now, I'm sure that y'all's are, conservative-minded people. Y'all's follow certain, conservative media people. I know I do. And I guess last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, that might have been it. There was a big, huge to-do, a thing that happened between Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder and the Daily Wire. If y'all haven't heard about this, let me get you up to speed very quickly. So, Steven Crowder was looking to, he was leaving one thing and was looking to go with another. I forget who it was he was with. I don't remember. But as far, he was shopping around on places that he can go, a home for his content, that goes outside of his own, the Mug Club as what they have as far as a subscription-based content. Wow, that was hard for me to say. Subscription-based content. He wanted a home outside of YouTube, outside of Rumble, a home for his content besides, his own subscription-based content. And several different companies got back in touch with him, one of which being the Daily Wire. And there was a lot of backlash on this because on the surface, Steven Crowder looked at this and he's like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't want to say a contract because it wasn't a contract. It was, as they said, an agreement. Okay. And the issues that he had with this agreement was it was forcing him and other content creators that decided to basically sign this agreement. It made them victim of mainstream media. Because the Daily Wire and other people like them, it basically sides with, YouTube, Facebook, and the like as far as monetization goes, as far as marketability goes, as far as your content being banned, all of that kind of stuff. It basically makes these companies part of the problem. And that's what Steven Crowder was pointing out. They're being part of the problem. Why are you claiming to be this to stand up against the machine? Hi, Brandon. But here you are becoming part of the problem. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. And that's what Steven Crowder was getting at. He's like, I don't like this. We have to do better. because it was like, you have to do so much stuff, which is understandable. You've got to produce so much content a week. That's understandable. So much content a month. That's understandable. So much content a year. That's understandable. I get all those. I very much do. If you're going to pay somebody a bunch of money, then you want them to be producing content. I get that. I really do. And I have no qualms with that. But where they started to lose me was you have to be marketable on YouTube. If you get banned on YouTube, you're penalized. You get banned on Facebook, you're penalized. You're banned on Twitter, you're penalized. And your salary, per se, your reimbursements on here is based off of you being marketable on all of these platforms, that you're monetized. Now, one for Crowder, which I thought was absolutely hilarious because he's not monetized on YouTube. I mean, they allow him to have his content on YouTube because he draws in a lot of traffic, but YouTube is the one that's making that. Louder with Crowder doesn't get any of that at all. He brings all this traffic to YouTube. A lot of people watching that stuff, they're making money off of him hand and foot, but he's not making any money. And in which case it's like, okay, so he's not monetized on YouTube. So you're automatically penalizing him because they don't like what he stands for. Now, granted, and here's the thing, okay? And this is one of the things that Ben Shapiro brought up was you're doing the same thing that I do. You have your social media friendly content, and then afterwards you have your not social media friendly content where you can say everything that you can't say on YouTube. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're not getting banned, if you're not getting a strike on YouTube as a conservative, you're not doing your job. I'm just going to be honest with you. You ain't doing your job if you ain't getting banned. I've been banned several times. I know Brandon has been banned several times. I have multiple stinking YouTube channels so that this way, if I get shut down on one, I got another one waiting in line. I got a batter on deck. I got another in the hole. I got another in the dugout. I've got several YouTube channels just waiting for when this one gets shut down, because if they wanted to, believe me when I tell you, they could right now. Okay, we're all good. But that's what happens when you constantly and consistently speak out against what's going on. If they wanted to, they'd shut me down. The good thing for me is I don't make a lot of noise. I'm small fish. I'm like a crappie. It's just, imagine that being an ocean thing, or whatever. I'm definitely not a great white shark. I'm not a humpback whale. Like size wise, I'm just, but I'm talking, I can't make a big splash. I'm a small fish. Just saying. That's my saving grace in this. But for other people like him, yeah, it's a bigger issue because they're looking at your content all this stinking time. There you go. My point is, one of the things whenever they, because they did some damage control after some of this stuff was going on, and they're like, look, we gave him an amazing deal. I don't know what he's talking about. What we sent him as far as the terms and the conditions was standard, and it was a great deal. We offered him $50 million for, I think it was a year maybe worth of content. I'm not even sure. Don't quote me on that, but it was for $50 million. And one thing on this that I thought I didn't really like, but at the same time I don't like it because as a content creator, I just don't like it. But the Daily Wire, if you sign this agreement, all of the content that you create during that contractual time frame belongs to the Daily Wire. It does not belong to Steven Crowder or Louder with Crowder. I don't like that, but I also understand that's how the business is done. I get that. And to be honest with you, as far as my podcast hosting platform goes, that's one of the reasons why I'm on Spreaker, is because I own my own content. Spreaker does not have permission, nor the ability, nor the contractual anything that they can manipulate my show for their own personal gain. They can't do that because my content belongs to me. It doesn't belong to Spreaker. But what the Daily Wire was doing is they took all of that control, or would have taken all of that control away from anybody who signed that agreement. Again, I get it. You know, you're paying them that kind of money, that content, you know, that's how business is done. I get that. You know, I understand the against, but I also understand the pro. I understand why they do it as a business, but I also understand as a content creator why I wouldn't want that to be the case. You know, I'm kind of like either way. You know, I get why they want to, but I really don't want to agree to that. I get it. I get it. So they're saying that, oh, this was a good amount of money. This was a great deal. You know, why he's mad, we have no idea. And then later in that same video, he's saying, you know, yes, we offered him this amount of money, but we also know darn good and well that we undercut him because he's worth so much more. But wait. How can you say that that was a lot of money that we offered him? He should have been happy with that, and then acknowledge that we undercut him a lot because we know he's worth a lot more. Both of those things can't be true. Smells fishy to me. And then he wanted to say that this was a good deal that they handed him, and then later on in that same rebuttal was like, this is just a stepping stone. We know that there's going to be some pushback. We know that there's going to be some negotiations. We know that there's going to be some things altered and adjusted and goes away and adds into it. You know, we know this is the case. This is just a framework, you know, something by which to get the ball rolling on negotiations. Wait a second. How can you say that this is an absolute amazing thing, that he's getting a great deal, and then go, this was just a stepping stone to start negotiations off? Again, both cannot be true at the same time. And then the other thing that he got completely yelled at for, as in Steven Crowder, was recording the phone call. It's like, oh, that's unheard of. How could you possibly do that? Dude, there was a time I recorded every phone call I had. Now, here's the thing. If you are conducting business and you are not recording your phone call, then you're an idiot. Yeah, I said it. I'm just being honest with you. I mean, don't blame me. If you're conducting business and you're not recording your phone calls, then you're an idiot. You should be recording your phone call. I mean, if you're calling a company, they're recording the phone call. I mean, it's understood that this is a recorded conversation. You just assume that. When you are conducting business, it is automatically assumed that this is a recorded conversation. Because if you're calling a company, I tell you this right off the bat that I know darn good and well, that if they are having a business conversation, this is probably being done at the office, and in which case, if this is being done at the office, then this was recorded on the Daily Wire's end. So why are they yelling at Crowder for recording the conversation that is already being recorded anyway? Now, I mean, I guess it's possible that, I forget what the guy's name was, Jeff something maybe, I think is what it was, that he was calling on his cell phone, not, on his company phone, in which case, all right, fine, sure, whatever. It might not have been recorded on his end. But again, at the same time, this was a business call. He was conducting business. This wasn't a personal call. If you are conducting business and you are not recording the phone call, you're kind of an idiot. Just being honest with you. Now, in my opinion, I see that both sides has legitimate claims, whatever. I do. I see that Crowder is like, they're being part of the problem if they are going to base your pay off of the willingness of social media and YouTube and the like to monetize you, to keep you on their platform, yada, yada, blah, blah. I get it. I understand it on both sides. I really do. A lot of money. I get it. But I want to tell you something, though. I'm actually kind of excited about this, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay? I like how Crowder operates. I really do. I like how he operates. I like how he does business. Very respectful. He's got content creators in mind. And you've heard me say a lot whenever it comes to politics and things of that nature that, if in government or anything for that for that matter, holy crap, if you don't see the change you're wanting, then be the change. If you don't see somebody that you like on the school board, then, well, run for school board. Be the change you want to see. Do that. For state Senate, state Congress, whatever, do that. On the federal level, do that. Get in there, be the change you're wanting to see. If you don't see somebody that you would like to vote for, then be that change that you're wanting. And it really sounded like on one of the videos that Crowder did was that he plans on starting his own creator type of a platform, like the Daily Wire. I'm like, ooh. He's already getting with content creators. He's already, working on building a network. He's already doing that. And of which case, I think that is absolutely amazing. Because as a conservative, we need places we can go. As a conservative, as a content creator, as a consumer, we need places we can go that we don't have to worry about the big lie. Isn't that what we need? We need places we can go. There's not a lot of them out there. And this, wow. I don't know how soon the time frame is on this because it looks like that's what he's doing. He's building this, it sounds like, as we speak. In fact, this year, I think he's only done, 2 episodes, which is, kind of, but by this time he would have done more, a lot more. So I'm kind of curious as to what's going on. I really am. I'll be honest. But it sounds like because him working on going to another company, him not liking what he was seeing, how he was being treated, the type of things that he was going to be forced to do, losing his content. I get it. He's going to be the change he wants to see. I think that's amazing. I really do. I'll be honest with you. I see both sides. I really do. I'm not picking a side on this, because I see where each is coming from. I understand it. I really do. And it's like, Dang it. What I see as a bad thing on this is, you got two big, huge names in conservative alternative media. Button heads, and that ain't good for the conservative movement. It come together, hey, come on, this is good. Why you got to fight on this? Not that I see it as necessarily a bad thing, but I don't see it. It's definitely not a good thing. I'll just put it that way. Good stuff. So, yeah, there's my take on that. If you guys have seen that, any of that stuff and, know what the big to-do was on it. If y'all have heard anything different, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be interested. Moving on. I seen this and I had to laugh. I really did. This next article comes from MRC Newsbusters. Had the cough. Okay. MRC Newsbusters headline, Whoopi demands that Texas send New York cash to deal with the illegals. I'm like, excuse me, baking powder, you want Texas to give New York money to deal with all these illegal aliens? Why? You say that like it's Texas's fault they landed in Texas. It's not Texas's fault. It's the federal government's fault because they outright refuse to close the border. They're not defending the border. They're letting, 200,000 immigrants, I don't remember. A lot of freaking illegal immigrants, illegal aliens coming across the border. A butt ton of them. It's not the fault of Texas. It's the fault of Joe Biden and his administration. Why isn't she putting the blame where the blame actually belongs? That's what I want to know. I mean, of course, we all know why that is. Why would she want to blame, their savior of the orange man? Why would they put any blame on him instead of just blaming Texas? Of course, they're going to blame Texas, but that's ridiculous to me. They need to be putting the blame right there where it belongs. Federal government, that's what they need to do. I'm like, Whoopi, you are blaming the wrong person here. Wake up, get a clue. Not like she can, but that's beside the point. Moving on. This next article, again, you would have to be living under a rock if you are not familiar with this story. From Fox News. Alec Baldwin. From Fox News. Alec Baldwin charged, film grip, blasts actor's ignorance of firearms. Now look, here's the thing. There's another article I have on this too. This one is from TMZ. Alec Baldwin will not be charged for shooting Rust director. I'm going to be honest with you. I have absolutely no idea if he got charged, if he's getting charged. I have no idea whatsoever. But here's the thing, guys. Okay, I don't like Alec Baldwin's politics as an individual. I think is crap. As an actor, I kind of like him. I like his stage presence. I like most of the stuff that I've seen him in. I can do that. I can separate somebody professionally versus personally and politically. I can do that. I can separate like that. I'm not going to hold him as being a political piece of crap on his views and being communist and being, anti-conservative and, claiming to be how can you claim to be anti-capitalism whenever you're an actor and all of your money is based off of capitalism? What the hell? But that's how a lot of these people in Hollywood are. I'm anti-capitalism. Capitalism is crap. And then you're on your iPhone or you're on your Android and you're an actor and everything is based off of, it's ridiculous to me. Whatever. Stupid people. But I can separate that. Okay? I'm not going to boycott his movies because he's an idiot. I'm just not going to do that. But even I do not think, any which way, shape, or form, that this was on purpose. I really don't. Now, last I knew, he was going to be charged with, I believe, murder 3. Which is, that's what I heard. His actions led to somebody else's death. Simple. That's what murder 3 is. He didn't intend on killing anybody. He didn't intend on killing him. He mishandled a firearm that was not supposed to be loaded because it was a prop gun and he was on set. Some of the real questions on this should be, why was it loaded? Who loaded it? Why was there a live round in a prop gun in the first place? And of which case, and here's the thing, okay? All right. Who's John Wick? Keanu Reeves. All right. Keanu Reeves. We've all seen that man on a range, okay? He knows he knows weapons. He knows firearms. He knows firearm safety. He knows what he's doing. You have seen him in the John Wick movies doing things that, with particular firearms that only somebody whom is familiar with that type of weapon do. He knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to do something stupid like what actually happened. He knows better. But somebody like Alec Baldwin obviously doesn't. Why? He's an actor. He doesn't like guns. He's not pro-gun whatsoever. I know Liam Neeson, another person whom is completely, anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment, but yet, as an actor, makes a lot of money carrying a gun and shooting people. I mean, really. I don't know as far as, on which side of the scale Liam Neeson is, as far as, is he Tyrion Lannister? Does he drink and he knows things? Or is he Jon Snow, as in he knows nothing? I have no idea which side of the spectrum he's on. All I know is he's another one of them libtards that are like anti-gun, yet I want to make a lot of money shooting people. Woohoo! Okay, anyway. He didn't know how to check the weapon, check the chamber. He didn't know that these are things you are supposed to do. He was under the assumption, right or wrong, that they're not going to just hand him a loaded weapon that's supposed to be a prop gun on set. That's redonkulous. Why would anybody do that? That doesn't take all blame away from Alec Baldwin. All I'm saying is I can understand his dilemma. I can understand why he didn't do what he didn't know to do, because he didn't know he was supposed to do that. He didn't know. I'm not giving him completely a free pass, but it's still an aspect of, I understand. I don't like the guy, and even I can say, let's not throw the book at him. Because, here's the thing, dude. I don't think Alec Baldwin is all, granted, we've all heard the phone call. We've all heard all that good crap on that. But even still, I don't think this is one of them aspects where him being a complete pain in the butt, a bad individual, that he doesn't feel some type of remorse, some type of guilt, some type of, he ain't going to be sleeping right for a while because of what happened. I don't see that. And I would hope that he's not that kind of a person that would be able to just kill somebody, accident or not, and not have any type of remorse on that. There's going to be its own punishment. It's not to say he shouldn't go to prison for, because I do think he should go to prison for, especially considering this is the type of thing that he would recommend happen to anybody that this would have happened to. I'm sure you can be sure that he would have been doing that one. Oh, you need to go to prison. Yeah, well, still an accident, and he still should go to prison. But this isn't murder 1. This isn't murder 2. It was an accident. Should be treated as such. I don't know how this is actually going out right now. I really don't. I don't know as far as I know, the trial's going on. He is being charged, but is he going to be found guilty? I don't know. But murder 3 was the last thing that I had heard that he was actually being charged with. I don't know why they're putting 2 different articles out here as far as he's not going to be charged, he is being charged. Because that was the last thing I heard, is he is being charged. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we return, we're going to be talking about the Joe Biden stuff. We're going to be talking about Jim Jordan and the fight between Jim Jordan and the Department of Justice. And we're also going to be talking about the power of regulations. Who is actually in control? That's what we're going to be covering next. Don't go anywhere. Be right back as soon as I find the right. That looks good. That looks pretty. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, we are back, and I figured with the week that I had, that was a good one to play. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse, because apparently I think I had some of that this past week and the week before that too. And I think there's something that I drank that I really shouldn't drink, and I think that it had very negative effects on my bowels. But it wasn't Tide Pod brand colon cleanse. I haven't used any of that. I haven't had the need to as of yet. Oh man, I just had an idea for another one. Now available in an epidural. That's amazing. My brain should not think. There are times that my brain thinking is bad because that's the stupid stuff that my brain comes up with. I was going to start off with this article from American Institute for Economic Research. I think I'm going to wait on that one just a little bit because it's actually has a little bit more to do with what we're going to be covering after we talk about Biden. I got about a half hour. Let's see if I can actually get through the rest of the show in that amount of time. Holy crap. We're going to do lightning round, guys. That's what we're going to do. All right. We are going to start off with Biden. That's what we're talking about. Biden. Because all kinds of things are coming out. All kinds of things are coming out. Not one, not two, not three, like 6+ different places at various locations that documents marked classified has been found. And that whole aspect of he had no idea. He was surprised. Whatever. These are things, documents, at least in one case that we know of, that was moved multiple times. Documents that were moved multiple times. And I'm talking about the ones that were at the Penn University location. Because they didn't go from, the vice president's office to that location because that location wasn't there yet. So it had to go from A to B and then B to C. But there's more. Because not just have they found documents dating back to Biden's vice presidency, they have found documents dating back to him being a senator. And of which case that is very discerning to the intelligence community at large because it's like, that's not supposed to happen. Because generally speaking, well, this is how it happens, period. Okay? They go to a SCIF, senators, representatives, they go to a SCIF. They can view the document there. They can take notes on it while they're in the SCIF. No cell phones, no tracking anything, basically no electronics of any kind, no smart watches, nothing. You ain't supposed to have jack diddly squat in that SCIF with you. All of those type of electronic communication devices are supposed to be at the door. No listening devices, no recording devices, no nothing. They are strict on that. They monitor constantly transmissions in and out of a SCIF. It is monitored, and they know when a transmission has happened because they monitor it. Continuously, constantly, it is monitored. And before you leave, you have to turn in not just a classified document that you had in your possession, which, might I add, in order to get said classified document, you have to have the clearance necessary to view it. You have to have the need to know. You are briefed on this is how this happens. This is how this works. You got non-disclosure agreements that you have to abide by in order to even get the clearance that you got. You can't talk about it. You can't do any of that because it goes beyond just a classified marking, printing on the paper. It's the material as well. There's a lot that goes into it, and you have to give back said document that you have. You don't get to leave with it. And not only are you not able to leave, this is, I'm talking, senators, House of Representative people. I'm not talking president, but you have to give it back right then and there. You cannot take it with you, and you don't even get to take your notes. Your notes are stored in the skiff. That's what all these intelligence people are saying. That's what these, other representatives are saying. These other people in the Intelligence Committee, that's what they're saying. And, I recall, hearing stuff that, there was some classified documents that they were trying to view. And, like Ted Cruz being one of them that was trying to view things outside of his skiff. Jim Jordan was another one that was trying to view some of these classified documents outside of the skiff. And they wouldn't let him in to view these, to look at them, to get this information. So I'm definitely, it's like, yeah, okay, this has the ring of truth to it, if you know what I mean. So how then did Joe Biden, as a senator, get these classified documents? It shouldn't have been possible. What the heck? I mean, it's at least halfway understandable that he would have gotten a classified document handed to him in a daily briefing in the Oval Office with the president, in a skiff, what have you. That at least makes sense, in the Oval Office or what have you. Daily briefing, classified documents are inside that. That's at least halfway understandable that was given to him, handed to him, and it didn't make it back. That's at least understandable. And then you have the narrative of, okay, do I start off with Trump or do I start with Hillary Clinton? Well, let's just start off with Trump. They made this out to sound like it was the worst thing that has ever happened with him having what he had. Not to mention that it was like he was president. He had the ability to declassify any of that information. And in which case, if he declassified, then it's no longer classified, then he can't be charged with having classified documents if he declassified the documents. Okay. All right. But the vice president doesn't have that ability. Now, yes, the left is trying to say that, with an executive order, executive order, blah, 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 that Obama signed, that gave him the ability to do that. No. The president doesn't have the constitutional authority to delegate his power to the vice president, another constitutionally created office of the executive branch. Second in line does not mean second in command. That is not my verbiage. That is somebody else's. I think that was Andrew Wilkow that I heard say that, but it stands true. Second in line does not mean second in command. He doesn't have the power of the presidency to be able to classify, let alone declassify information. This was something that Dick Cheney tried to do by establishing his own, classification type of system, and of which case he was told very quickly, you can't do that. You're the vice president. You don't have that authority. Cease and desist. He wasn't happy about that, because Dick Cheney was trying to seize power and authority that he didn't have. And they squashed it. So I don't care if there was an executive order. That does not give him the authority. The still doesn't have the authority because Obama doesn't have the authority to delegate that type of power. He doesn't have that authority to do that. He's the president. At the time, that was Obama. He doesn't have the right, the ability to transfer his power to somebody else just because he doesn't want to be bothered with doing it on his own. Okay. I think we all get this now. So it's really, really looking bad for the Biden administration on this. But it gets worse. Have you all forgotten about the Hunter Biden's laptop from hell? Okay. In a 2017 email to Hunter Biden seeking China natural gas deal, Joe Biden was specifically named. There are things that are being brought up, are being questioned with Biden's loyalty. How about all these donations that got sent to Penn University? Was this money for services rendered? Were they paying for information, these classified information? Was they, what exactly did this money that they donated to, what did it pay for? Did it pay for access or was there something more? And these are all things that Jim Jordan and the department that he's on, Intelligence Committee, Oversight Committee. Yeah, these are all things that he's trying to get to the bottom of. And here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. He is getting pushback on this from the Department of Justice. Absolutely. He is getting pushback. This article from, as soon as I find it, there we go. Jim Jordan overreaches in attacking Department of Justice over the Biden classified documents. That article is from the Bulwark. And then there is, let me get rid of some stuff. I got a lot of tabs open right quick. I apologize. And then there is this article from CBS News, Peacock News. CBS? NBC. Dang it. Yeah, NBC. So, this article from the Bulwark, and then this article from NBC. So the one for Bulwark, Jim Jordan overreaches in attacking Department of Justice over the Biden classified documents. And then this one from NBC News, Department of Justice tells Jim Jordan that information about ongoing investigations is off limits. Huh. Wait a second. I thought it was the Oversight Committee. That's what I was under the impression of. Okay, Jim Jordan, Chairman, Oversight Committee. Well, I thought that Congress had the constitutional authority to oversee what the Department of Justice is doing. Am I right on that? I mean, I could have swore there was something in the Constitution that says that Oversight Committee, they have the right to oversee what the heck's going on. They have the right to do this. Well, they do. They absolutely do. And when I heard this, I thought this was absolutely amazing. because, okay, Department of Justice says, nope, you can't get any of this information. You can't get any of it. You can't get any of the documents, because that's the thing, man. They were quick to release what these Trump documents were all about. They were quick to release this stuff. Now, here's the thing. You've seen, all right, and this is how you know, okay? This is how you know that what Trump did is in no way, shape, or form anything comparable to what Biden did, okay? This is how you know, okay? Remember the picture of the documents just thrown around, where you wasn't just seeing file folders with classified and top secret written on it. You were seeing some of the actual documents and stuff that was there. You were seeing it in these pictures that was released by the press. Are they really classified if a picture was taken of them by the press and then posted on the internet? Remember, we just didn't see file folders. We've seen documents. This isn't a cheap Polaroid camera that they were taking these pictures with. It was a camera that had some resolution. You can do some zoomy zoom and see that document. If it was really classified, national secrets, do you really think the press would have been welcomed into the room with a camera to take pictures and the ability to post it on social media? Do you believe? I mean, really, do you believe that? How much have we heard about the classified documents found in Joe Biden's possession at various locations? Nothing. We ain't hearing jack. We don't know the nature of any of these documents. We don't know the secrets that were revealed in this. We don't know nothing, but it gets worse. Because at the various locations that these documents have been found, there are no oops, sorry, didn't mean to touch the mic. There's no records as far as the people that have come and gone from these residents. We don't know. One of the residents is a place that, Chinese officials, Hunter Biden, had access to amongst other people in the Penn location. The documents that were found where in the house that Joe Biden rented to his son, Hunter Biden, for $50,000 a month. Holy crap. Was that the 10% for the big guy that we kept hearing about? I don't know, but that's a pretty expensive house. For crying out loud, that house paid for itself by the rent that Hunter Biden was paying in the course of 1 year. I'm not exactly sure how long Hunter Biden lived in that location, but this is where the documents were found. We have pictures of the boxes that were being stored in the garage, so we know that the documents were out there. How many people? And yeah, you heard me. We've seen pictures of the boxes of documents where the classified documents were found. In the garage. Open. Not very secure, but who all had access to those? Are there records as far as the comings and goings of who was there at the house? Nope, not at all. How about anybody that may have seen the so-called classified documents that President Trump had? Oh, President Trump had it at Mar-a-Lago. Trump was president. Trump's house is secure, defended by Secret Service, in a room that was locked, in a door that wasn't secure enough, but even still, it was in a secure location. Not to mention the fact that they outright refused to give. No, let me reverse on this a little bit. Presidents, they kind of get skiffs. You know, at their home, different places where they can have some of the prudent some classified documents prudent to, them and what have you. And they are, they're given a skiff, a secure location to have these documents in. Okay. It's kind of standard operating procedure. Standard operating procedure. Because right now, I mean, yeah, we've heard that Trump had some documents he wasn't supposed to have, according to, the archive, people. Biden had some documents he wasn't supposed to have. And then they asked Pence if he had any documents he wasn't supposed to have. He said, no, I ain't got nothing I ain't supposed to have. Then they did a search in his location. Well, son of a gun. I do got some classified stuff in here. But they haven't talked to Obama. They haven't talked to any one of the Bushes. They haven't talked to Carter about any of this. They haven't talked to any president about this. Why is that? Do they think that they don't have stuff? Well, they know Obama does because he took all kinds of stuff whenever he left the office. But they also gave him a secure location to put it in. They gave him skiffs. And they outright refused to build President Trump a skiff in Mar-a-Lago because they didn't want him having any documents, because they didn't want him to use that against them. The information. Here's the thing, okay? And this is one of the things you hear, because whenever President Trump did it, it was, this is the worst thing that has ever happened in the history of anything that has ever happened ever. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than 9/11. This is worse than Benghazi. This is horrible. Totally ignoring what Hillary Clinton did and all that crap that, nobody in their right mind would prosecute Hillary Clinton for, doing this whenever she absolutely should have been prosecuted. And then here comes Joe Biden. And they say that, what we have here isn't this isn't as big of a problem what you guys are making it out to be. It really isn't, because, here's the thing with the nation being as large as it is, with having as many moving parts as it has, with a nation of this size, we classify all kinds of stuff. And here's the thing, the things that they classify might not have to do with national security. It might not have to do with any of that. They classify things just because it might be embarrassing to the person that's the context of said document that they want to classify. Not that it has anything to do against national security. They classify things because, that makes him look bad. Let's classify that information. Is it really classified? Is it really? Is it? Is that a matter of national security? It is this document, if it got released, is going to put an active service person in jeopardy, their life in jeopardy? Is it going to risk somebody losing their life? No. Are we giving them secrets on how we do things and technology or any of that? No. So why are they classifying that? Well, because it makes somebody look bad. And believe me, we have a lot of that kind of crap too. They classify a lot of crap just for that reason alone. It ain't got nothing to do with national security. It's this person's security. Because if this information were to go public, then he may lose the favor of his voters and might lose a seat in office. And so that's why they classify a lot of these documents. But what they said, their defense was, They classify everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they classify. This is kind of a thing that happens all the time. With Hillary Clinton, it was, she didn't mean to. Even though, we all know, because we're not stupid, that, yeah, she did. Clearly, the intent was there. People didn't know what bleach bit was until Hillary Clinton used it, destroying all kinds of things. Obstruction of justice. And then you have Trump, whom we know, because why else would the FBI allow media inside the house to take pictures of these classified documents and then post them on social media? We know that what he did isn't near as bad as what Hillary Clinton did, nor is it as bad as what Joe Biden did, because we still don't know the context of any of the documents. And here you have the Department of Justice completely stonewalling Jim Jordan and the rest of the Judiciary Committee because they are not allowing them to do their job of oversight. But I did hear that they do have some recourse. This is something that has been utilized in the past because the same type of pushback, I don't remember the particulars as far as what happened at the moment, but this has happened before in the past. And because Congress is given the power of oversight, they are also given the ability as an implied power, because how can you have separate but equal branches? How can the the legislative branch have the power of oversight if they don't have the power to enforce anything that they, their rulings? Give us this information. So if they don't have the power to enforce their power of oversight, then do they really have a power at all? And of which case, in a Supreme Court case, and that sounds stupid, it was pretty well understood that, yeah, if you ain't got the power to enforce, you ain't got the power. So they have the power. They've got, by the power of Grayskull, by the power of the White House, they've got the power to oversee what's going on. That means is what they can do is they can send, and I forget what the title of the person was that they can send over to the Department of Justice, take that person into custody if they are not willing to comply, and arrest him. Or her, whoever it is. Whoever the person may be. Oh, you're not going to hand over this information? We don't need to. Actually, yeah, you do. Send RoboCop in there, dead or alive, you're coming with me. And they can be detained and they can be thrown in jail until such time as they comply. That is the power. That is the authority that Jim Jordan and the House Judiciary Committee has in oversight with getting these information, as they are demanding that they get to carry out their investigation to see, is President Joe Biden compromised? Now, of course, we all know that this is a ridiculous question because, of course, he's compromised. We all know this. It's no secret. I just want to take this information, spit it in the eye of all the Democrats out there that just don't want to hear it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And as if what is going on with the Department of Justice and the pushback that they are giving Jim Jordan and the Judiciary Committee, if that just isn't bad enough. Thursday, we hit the debt ceiling. Now they're doing some creative accounting in order to, kind of push back the effects of this until like June or July, I think is what I heard. But this is still something that the House of Representatives is going to have to address, and I mean now. This is the test that I was referring to in the title of this episode. This is just a test. Because here you have with the, McCarthy, the new Speaker of the House, is how willing is he going to be to fighting for the American people? Let's talk about this a second, because this is what happened, okay? They pushed this through, and I don't understand how, okay? But they pushed all of this through before the House was, seated and the new Congress was seated and sworn in and all that kind of good stuff. And, this was something that, good old Mitch McConnell spit in the face of conservatives everywhere and allowed this to happen, and doing this and participated in this. He's part of the problem. He's got to go. And they spent all this money knowing that a Republican-led House of Representatives was about ready to be seated. And then you have the leadership, not just the majority, but the minority too. Mitch McConnell's in on this, going, you're just going to have to raise the debt ceiling. You have Joe Biden. I will not negotiate. He will not negotiate at all. This is what we are spending. America's, full faith of the credit is in jeopardy. You have to raise the debt limit. You have no choice. I will not negotiate. Make no mistake about it, Joe Biden wants a fight. He wants to prove to the Democrat base that he still got it, that he can do this, that he hasn't lost too much of a step. I mean, he can still defend the Democrat agenda. He's got something to prove. They're wanting to implement huge amounts of not just tax cuts. I mean, because that's one of the things too. I mean, they're talking about, the fair tax, that they're wanting to implement that, getting rid of the income tax altogether and going to a fair tax, which is a consumption-based tax, which is absolutely amazing. It ain't going to happen. Because it ain't going to go through the House of Representatives, or it ain't going to go through the Senate, and it certainly isn't going to be signed by the president, but it would still be nice to get the thing written, put out there, and do. I think it would be awesome. Yes, Josh Lawpress, that is amazing over there in YouTube land. Thank you. He says, isn't that the duty of the Sergeant at Arms to arrest the president if he has committed treason? And yes, it is. That is actually the person, because I couldn't remember, the guy's title. But that would be the person, the Sergeant at Arms, who would be heading over to, the Department of Justice and arresting the head of the Department of Justice if they did not comply and hand over all the documents that Jim Jordan is requesting. They do have that power. Yes, it is a Sergeant at Arms. Thank you for giving me that one. I appreciate that. And you are absolutely right, the Sergeant at Arms. So back to it. Lost my train of thought. I hate it when that happens. I absolutely hate it when that happens. Debt ceiling. There we go. That's what we're talking about. We have a spending problem. Okay, now one, I don't know, okay, it's not that I don't understand the constitutionality. It isn't constitutional. The progressive tax code is unconstitutional. If we are supposed to have equal representation and equal application under the law, how is a progressive tax code, how is that constitutional? The answer is it isn't, because it treats everybody different according to the amount of money that they make on tax time. April 15th, nobody's treated the same. Not in income, not in marital status, not in the amount of kids you have. Nobody is treated fairly. Nobody's treated equally. That is unconstitutional. You're supposed to have equal application of the law. How do you have that in a progressive tax code? You don't. And what the fair tax is trying to do is implement a consumption-based tax code, which means everybody will be paying something, including illegal aliens that are working cash under the table, not filing their income taxes, not filing a W-2. That means that these people, because they're still purchasing stuff, is going to be contributing money to the taxes. That's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. That is awesome. And I mean, granted, okay, now, as this thing is, it seemed like this was just a frame job that he did. He just put the foundation down, maybe not even frame this puppy in very good. It ain't got a roof in it. It ain't got no, it ain't got no walls in it. Ain't got any power lines in it. Ain't got no gas in it. That's a problem. I mean, that's what this guy kind of did whenever he wrote this thing. They got some bugs to work out, let me tell you, but it's the start of an amazing idea. It really is. But back to this, the debt ceiling, okay? We have a huge problem in this country, and that is overspending. Why are we spending, like $10? We spend $10 for every $1 in revenue that we get. For every buck received, they try to give that dollar to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, and it keeps going around. That's what they do all the time. We have a spending problem. We need to stop it. We have a spending problem. We need to stop it. There will come a time when our debt is no longer manageable. Because of our overspending, that is going to ruin the faith of our currency. How can you just keep on raising the debt ceiling without putting any type of a handle on your spending? Because that's what they said last time that they would do. Y'all need to stop doing this. We need to be more responsible with our spending. Yes, we understand, we will be. Just raise the debt ceiling, and then we'll have the conversation about budget, being more responsible with the money that we spend. Just raise the debt ceiling. Well, they raised the debt ceiling, and then we never got any reduction in spending. Raise the ceiling, no deduction in spending. Raise the ceiling, no deduction in spending. It's kind of like give them amnesty, we'll build a wall. They get the amnesty, we get no wall. It's the same thing. It's the same dance that we do time and time again. Well, now, considering the fight that we had for the speakership in the first place, we have a place to stand as conservatives that we ain't got to allow this to happen anymore. We ain't got to put up with it. We ain't going to take it. This is the test. This right here, this debt ceiling right here, this is going to be the test of McCarthy, this is going to be the test of the Republicans in the House of Representatives. Do they have the testicular fortitude to hold the Senate's feet to the fire, to hold the president's seat to the fire? Do they have what it takes? Because we need to. There's no ifs. There's no ands. There's no buts. We have to get this spending under control. Because they're spending like there ain't no tomorrow. I'll tell you what, our kids and our grandkids are not going to be very happy with us when everything comes crumbling down. This is a house of cards, people. People don't understand just how fragile this entire thing is. If they would have raised the debt ceiling, I mean, here's the thing, what the Democrats want is no debt ceiling. Even if they just remove the debt ceiling, do away with it. There is no more debt ceiling. You can spend and spend and spend, and you just keep doing it forever. It's okay. Even if they did that tomorrow, do you really think that that was going to have a positive or a negative effect on our position, our finances, our economy, the strength and durability of the USD on the world stage? Do you think that's going to have a positive effect or a negative effect? If they just continue to raise the debt ceiling, continue to spend us into oblivion, do you really think that's going to have a positive outcome? It's not. How could you possibly think that? How? This is a house of cards, and people just don't realize it. They're walking around with a big old sledgehammer on the top floor, just plopping it everywhere, just hitting all kinds of stuff, not even understanding just how close the whole thing is to come tumbling down. Believe me when I tell you it's bad. Do your own research. It's bad. And if we don't get a hold of this, it's just going to get worse. We need to force them to get this spending out of control. These omnibus bills that doesn't allow anybody any time to read it. Oh, if you want to find out what's in it, you're just going to have to vote for it. That ain't going to work for us anymore. It didn't work last time. We just didn't have enough people in there to do anything about it. Now we do. And you're going to think that we're just going to let you walk all over us because you don't like the outcome of the last election? The people have spoken. I mean, isn't that what the Democrat left keep telling us all the time? The people have spoken. That's our charter to keep going forward with our agenda. We're going to shove it in your face. We don't care if you like it or not. Isn't that what the American people just got done saying to government, to Senate, to the president? We don't like what you're doing. We're going to put up some roadblocks and stop you from doing it. You want to hire these 87,000 new IRS agents? Well, guess what? That money's got to come from somewhere. And now we hold the purse strings. We got the wallet in our hands. I don't think we want to fund that. Do you? Do you want to fund it? I know I don't. I absolutely know that I don't. Let me go ahead and get in here and see if there's anything else I was wanting to talk about. Let's see. Greta getting arrested. That was hilarious. That was so funny. That was so staged. Yeah. Joe Biden having no plans to stop the illegal immigration. Why does that not surprise me? Yeah, that's all I really got for today. That's really it. I think that's enough. And of course, if you guys want to, see all the articles that I used in the show, you also can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and there you'll see the magazine on Flipboard, my go-to hub, one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. And just go to the today's date, and there you go. It is there. Trust me, all the articles, 33 of them in this one. That's a lot of articles. So all kinds of reference articles in there. Just go ahead and take a look at those. And I do have a couple more that I am working on writing and getting completed and thrown in there. I know some of my most recent ones were in like the last magazine that I did, and in which case you can check those out. Actually, you can head on over to Medium. Just go to the hohoshow.com on the homepage, and like the Medium symbol that's in there. I have redone the the website. I mean, that thing is always under construction. It really is, but scrolling on down, you got all kinds of links in here for the YouTube, the places that the podcast can be found, all those places. And then of course, other content, Flipboard, Rumble, voice.com, locals.com, and Medium. There's the link right there to get the magazines that I've done. Yeah, good times. So head on over there. And of course, and please do this, subscribe to the newsletter, because when I get banned from YouTube and, different things happen because I like speaking out, I like doing my job on, behind this microphone. Sometimes I say things that they don't like and they shut me down for a while and I got to go somewhere else. So if you want to have the latest information on what is going on, go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter. I don't send spam out. You're lucky to get one a month. On occasion, you might get two if something major is going on. And I got all kinds of information. I'm excited about stuff to share you. But, I'll give you information on there. Head on over to thehohoshow.com. Scroll on down to where it says subscribe to the newsletter. Put in your email. There you go. And, of course, you can send me an email, hoho@thehohoshow.com. And I can input your information there if you want me to. But it's easier just to subscribe at the homepage. So, guys, that is all I got for you. Y'all just have yourself a great one. I do appreciate you stopping by, being part of the conversation. So, y'all just have a great one. Till next time. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.